based on what happened today, were there? I mean, what do you think was probably the most remarkable statement made today by any one of the candidates?
Well, I was trying to recall some of the policy issues they addressed. I wish I had something remarkable to, most of the one-liners were directed at veterans, but they talked about this transportation infrastructure problem we have, which is a $12 billion backlog. That's with a B, as in boy, and with roads and bridges. So they each said, that there are some, including those in the asphalt and road building business, that advocate for a raising the gasoline tax to help fund some of those projects. None of the candidates said they were willing to do that unless all other, I think Edwards said, unless all other avenues were exhausted. So they all three said that they would, or two of them, Edwards and Darden, said they would keep state police out of that transportation trust fund. So, as you know, state police, I think last year were funded maybe $60 million out of, or have received $60 million out of that trust fund. So they say they would, that would end. So that's $60 million toward it. We're talking about a $12 billion.
Sure, be.
But anyway, $60 million. Then each Edwards and Darden said they would also focus more capital outlay money toward those roads, which Edwards said his plan would generate another $75 billion for that. So now Angel had the most radical plan on that, I thought, and I think he's said it before, but so he advocates for creating clusters of parishes or regions and let them be on there. In other words, and levy taxes on themselves by a vote of the people in those regions. If they want the roads, one of the ways to do it would be for them to levy taxes on themselves to have roads or a bridge or whatever in that particular cluster, in that region of parishes. I thought that was unusual. I don't know if that was why, but I thought that was, I won't say odd, but that was different. Because
sure.
Of course, it seems kind of unrealistic, but
sure. Well, go on.
All of them talked about the possibility of tolls as well, and Louisiana hadn't ever been a big toll state. So, but that was interesting, I thought.
Yeah, I was going to mention the tolls, and that sounds somewhat like a toll. And certainly, what he's saying is that he wants the voters of the region to be able to make that decision. So, getting back to the first issue, and that is the question of the non-appearance by Senator Vitter. Now, I know that various people, pundits, I know it's been reported that Vitter is not attending those forums where he does not get the questions in advance. And speculation is that this is the reason why he did not attend a really, I guess, a forum that you would almost want to attend because it's a Baton Rouge Press Club forum.
Right.
But he didn't attend.
I can't say that for certain. It seems that certainly seems. It seems as if the senator has avoided or hasn't been able to attend some of the forums in which the questions weren't presented ahead of time. He has attended some that weren't. I covered way back the very first one at the big farm gathering, the farm show in New Orleans in your city, and he didn't have the questions there, and of course he didn't have the questions. I didn't attend this one, but last week or week before, and he got kind of angry about it.
Yeah,
there was a planted question.
Yeah,
so he has attended some, but it does seem like that. I'm not sure he'll attend another. I don't know. I spoke to his spokesman today, of course, because I wanted to put in there why the senator wasn't there, and he said he had business to tend to in Washington. So he was en route to Washington. For votes and debate, although the Senate doesn't have any votes today, but he could be, he may have had to fly out today to be there for tomorrow. So I don't know. But anyway, I did ask about that.
Oh, okay. Well, it would seem to me that the campaigns would at least have some information about it because, they're the ones who receive the questions in advance. And,
exactly.
And so what they're saying is that he's not going to those debates and where they do receive the questions in advance. Or I'm sorry, where they don't receive the questions in advance. But he is showing up to those where the questions in advance are provided. I happened to be at that debate last week where apparently the questions were not given in advance and where he did get unnerved by the question relative to revised statute 14 and anybody breaking the law. And he thought that was a trick question or gotcha question. And
yeah, he claimed that Darden had planted that question, if I remember right.
That is what he claimed. One last question, please, and that is that last week, I wrote an article about these campaign PACs, and I think it's the PACs who are following the candidates. I saw some things on Twitter, comments being made about these people campaign PACs following candidates. The one I caught, and I shot a video of it, is from the Vitter PAC, and which was the funds for Louisiana Future, and they paid this guy Josh, and it goes through a national organization, America Rising. And so America Rising actually pays this guy Josh. Josh follows the candidates around, lately Edwards. And what I saw was he was capturing by video, he was capturing the conversations that Edwards was having with private individuals who were, I'm assuming, not expecting to have their conversations captured. Now, I did my own independent research and do believe that that's unlawful. I do believe that you can't capture audio or oral communications, but subject to, of course, reasonable expectations. I'm just wondering, was any discussion, or did you see anybody there capturing anything that was a little suspicious, or are they stopping, not stopping? I'm just wondering.
Well, I was going to bring this up before you had to go because I read that piece of yours last week, and it was very compelling and interesting. And so I thought about you immediately today because somebody, one of the candidates, I hate to call him a minor candidate, but I can't even remember his name, but he stood up and asked a question, even though he really wasn't supposed to, about some statute 30 or something like that. So Darth gets up and says, well, I'm not familiar with that. I'll have to research it. But I am familiar with statute 14. So it brought that up.
So it brought that up. I see. Okay.
Yeah, but there was a second piece to that because as the candidates were chiding Hitter for not being there, they said, but we see Josh is here as usual, his father, and they pointed out. So anyway, in other words, I wanted to tell you about that because especially after reading your piece last week. So it was brought up today at the podium, and then they said, "Hey, Josh, it was really I don't know if they had read your piece as well, probably so. But anyway, I knew you'd want to know about that. So even though it doesn't have, it's not policy, I wanted you to know that was discussed today.
Sure. No, well, I'm glad. I think that I likewise believe that candidates have an obligation to tell innocent people that that their oral communications, might be captured. So I'm glad the candidate went out and did that. I think Darden has done that in the past, or other candidates have done that in the past. Notifying and during the debate, saying, okay, well, here is the spotter or whatever you would call it. But I just think that kind of practice. I mean, if you're going to go and spot a candidate, that's fine, because that's a candidate that has decided to run for office. But
Right.
the average citizen who goes up to the candidate, whether it be at a shopping center, a shopping mall, at a wedding, wherever, church service.
I think that'd be very unsettling for most people, don't you?
Well, yeah. I think it would and should be, and I think it's against the law, and serious criminal penalties associated with it. So, the Bitter campaign says that Angel, the Democrats are doing the same, and but I asked them for more information. They haven't provided it, so we'll have to wait and see what happens. But it'll be interesting, and hopefully next time we'll see what Senator Bitter has to say. Hopefully he'll be able to attend the next forum, wherever it may be.
So.
Well, thanks a lot, and have a safe trip back to Monroe. And I really appreciate you taking your time with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate it. Bye.
Bye. I definitely agree, and that's why I think that the polls, even if they're a good snapshot in time, you've got to look at other factors such as the money factor. Based on what happened today, were there? I mean, what do you think was probably the most remarkable